Hello and welcome to the Signature Show. I am VINMARTIN, OBIORA, ILO. Today on our show, we are featuring FESTUS KEYAMO, who not too long ago was appointed the spokesperson for the Buhari campaign organization as we head towards 2019. Today on the program, FESTUS KEYAMO, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, will be telling us his roadmap for this task ahead. My pleasure to welcome FESTUS KEYAMO-san. FESTUS KEYAMO was recently appointed the spokesperson of the Buhari Osibanjo campaign as we go towards 2019. Mr. KEYAMO, glad to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations on your appointment.
Well, thank you.
Let me start by saying, by asking, what is your roadmap as you take up this appointment?
Well, I think my job is clearly laid out and spelled out. The president is already an easy personality to sell to Nigerians. His track records are very clear, well known. His personal qualities are well acknowledged, both locally and internationally, both by friends and enemies, both by compatriots, and even those who do not wish him well. His qualities are well acknowledged, especially his personal qualities of being very austere in his lifestyle, being very frugal about spending, having a high sense of accountability, and of course his personal honesty, which the American president acknowledged so very well just a few days ago. So these qualities are quite, well known. However, there has been attempts, and I'm sure you have seen those attempts too, vigorous attempts, wicked attempts, unpatriotic attempts in the last few years since he assumed office as president to tell lies to Nigerians, to paint him black, to demarket him, to ensure that that mass following he had in 2015, in fact, he had always had them. Those mass followings he had in 2003, 2007, 2011, and 2015, that they reduced it substantially. They have tried everything to do so. They've tried smear campaigns. They've tried propaganda. They've tried everything to ensure that they reduce the stature of the president. However, the more they try, the more they just find out that it is virtually impossible to so do. As they were trying to demarket the president, wait a minute, the whole of Africa came together and said, look, you are anti-corruption champion, lead the way for us. That set them back a bit. And they were trying again to do it again, and the American president came and said, look, you are one of the most honest leaders Africa has ever produced. So the facts are too clear. But then our job is to ensure that Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, are not misled by these agents of corruption, these agents of darkness, and these agents of backwardness. Our duty is to ensure that we educate them, we keep hope alive, we let them know that the person they voted for in 2015 is the same person that is still running for president now. He has not changed.
Knowing your pedigree, I've spoken to a number of people, people that have followed your progress, both in human rights, both in civil society, both in your legal career. And majority of them think that you doing this job would throw up some conflict of interest.
There's no conflict of interest. Vin, people are just myopic. 15 million Nigerians voted for this president. Those are the ordinary Nigerians, the everyday people. Do you realize that? This is not a military junta. This is a democratically elected president. Between 2015 and 2019, on paper, he has 15 million votes. Those are the ordinary people of this country. Those are the masses of this country. I stand with those 15 million, Vin. My doing this job is that I stand with the masses of this country who voted for him. If I go against it, I am going against those 15 million people. Listen, if I go against it, I'm going against those 15 million people. So those people who oppose the president, who love corruption, they're in the minority. They are part of the 12 million and plus votes who voted against him. Those are the people. Has the president lost some support in 2015? Perhaps, yes. Has he gained some support? Yes, of course, he has gained some support. You have seen heavyweights in the East who have joined the party. You have seen them yourself, the leaders of the East, who were not in the party before, who have joined the party. You have seen leaders who left the party before, in the North, who have come back to the party recently. Now, who has the right to sit down in his bedroom and carry one tablet of electronic tablet or phone to calculate that this is the number of people who are no longer supporting the president and this is the number of people who are supporting the president? It's only INEC that has that job to do in 2019. Until INEC does that job, what we do is that we are standing with those 15 million people who voted for the president, and those are the masses of this country. And so it is consistent with what I've done over the years. The anti-corruption posture of the president is consistent with what I've done over the years, and I stand by it. Vin, I have no apologies to anybody. I have no apologies to make, and I will do this job to the best of my abilities and come back and practice my law. I'm not looking for any other thing.
But you know,
it's for the good of my country.
Yes, but you know that you're one of those voices, I mean, over these years,
yes,
who would stand for what is right. Besides standing for what is right, you saw some objectivity. But with this position today, your opinion is going to be subjective.
Let me tell
Does
you.
that not conflict with the FESTUS KEYAMO that a lot of us followed all these years?
Let me tell you the exigency of the moment, Vin, if you don't know. The exigency of the moment calls for some kind of concerted action on our part to ensure that those who looted our resources do not return to power.
Is that what you mean by the exigencies?
Yes. If we make the mistake, and I think I made this point in my last interview, if you remember, it was in fact the interview I granted you that was the motivation for the third force, if you remember. It was in your program I was the first Nigerian to mention the word, the phrase, third force, that I wish there was a third force. And it was from this program everybody picked up the third force. Check anywhere, Google anywhere. Nobody said third force before me. I was the one that used that phrase, third force. And why did I use it? I said the only available force, ready, willing, and able to take over power from this government is the PDP. Let's be honest about it. There is no other one anywhere now ready. They are extremely intelligent Nigerians, able Nigerians who are running for president. They don't have the structure, they don't have the support, they don't just have the wherewithal to win now. It is too short for them to win. They may win later. I'm not God. But the point is that if we do not go an extra mile, come out of our shells, support this president, the mistake we made in 1985, when we thought he was too rigid, when we thought he was too hard on us, and we overthrew him. When I say we, I'm just saying, well, the collective, Nigerian, psych. It was like, let him go. Led by some ambitious soldiers, led by Babangida. What happened after Buhari left in 1985? We fell into the worst era of our history in terms of moral debauchery. We fell into the worst era in our history in terms of institutionalizing corruption in this country. And then, after Babangida, we were yearning again for the Buhari era to come back. That is the position we find ourselves now, Vin. We find ourselves in the same position we found ourselves in 1985, when we thought the man was too rigid, the man was too hard from all, the man was wanting to change everything overnight. He was in a hurry to change everything. Now, if we make that mistake again and fall back into the hands of the PDP, the those who looted mercilessly and heartlessly our resources, we are going to find ourselves in problem.
Have you stopped calling for the third force because you're with Buhari today?
The point is that...
Because the point you made to me in an interview was there should be a third force.
Yes, I said...
So have you stopped calling for a third force?
No. Democratically, let a third force be brewing somewhere. I want a third force to be brewing somewhere. I encourage these new people coming out. I encourage them. They have all kinds of names coming out. But I know, and you know, and Nigerians know, and I say that without meaning to denigrate them, that they cannot win elections in 2019. And if we do not wait, if we waste our time and our votes at this time away from preserving what this enigma has started, the president's an enigma, has started, we are going to run into big trouble. Let me tell you something why do I call the president an enigma? The only African leader that has held so many positions, plum positions, head of state, minister of petroleum, head of PTTF. PTTF was controlling more like what you have the SS crude fund. PTTF was like the SS crude fund we have now. It was the SS they made from petroleum, from the sale of petrol then, when they removed subsidy and all that. Guess what? He has not acquired any property to his name in the nation's capital. Up till now. Is that not a surprise for an African leader? People should acknowledge that. It is strange to have an African leader with that type of profile. It is not seen anywhere in that type of profile. He doesn't have a penchant for acquiring personal properties, acquiring wealth. He does not have that penchant for it. He's not God. Take note. He's a human being with all his flaws. The flaws are there. We all talked about the flaws, the human flaws. He's just human. But the point is that those telling qualities are what you attract good-hearted Nigerians to him. And the ordinary Nigerians, don't forget that. It's not the elites who want us to go back to where we are coming from. When you see some of the comments going on this day, you think that, oh, the world has ended. Everybody is against the president. When elections come now, you will see the everyday people who he has always banked on. He has never banked on the elites. The everyday people, they will show their power to Nigerians, their voting power.
Okay. But when you talk about the anti-corruption integrity side of Buhari, you're telling us an old song. Nigerians knew all before now, and that was why he was voted.
It's an old but sweet song.
Yes.
It's an old but sweet song.
Yes, KEYAMO. But
it's like Sweet Mother.
So when you come and tell us about those credentials, you're telling us what we already know.
It's an old and sweet song.
Yeah, but since 2015 that Mr. President took over,
yes,
a lot of Nigerians are saying that this man may not be as competent as we thought. This man may not deliver as much as we thought he could. This man may not have the capacity that we all thought he had. It doesn't bother you, or you don't hear stuff like that?
No, those are the naysayers. Those are the marketing agents. On what premise do they make those comments? First of all, in the integrity part, before we come to performance, let's talk about the integrity part.
That's the old song.
No, but I know, but has it changed in 2015? I'm asking you, have you traced him to acquiring the shares of Hilton Hotel, like one past presidents in 2015? Have you traced any oil block to him since 2015? Have you traced the acquisition of any personal property to him since 2015? Have you traced any of that? The man is still using the old cars that Jonathan used and handed over to him as president, as commander-in-chief. The old cars. He didn't see any need to buy new ones. He lives an austere lifestyle. Somebody was telling me a story recently, one of our close friends around the president, that it was when he became president in Daura, that he went to Daura, and his old furniture in the sitting room, and they were insisting that they had to go and change it. They got to go and buy new ones because of the kind of visitors he would receive. He said, no, nothing was wrong with the old furniture of more than 20 years ago. He said they should leave the furniture. They had to hijack the furniture out and go and rewrap it. They didn't buy new. They went to rewrap it with new leather to force it on him to say, you cannot do this to us. I mean, wrap your chairs well. It is rare for an African leader. If you don't want to accept that, I'm sorry. No, excuse me. You see,
the one we know this.
has it changed? I'm asking you, has it changed?
It may not have changed.
It's good. So one. So 100%.
Our economy has not changed for the better since 2015. That's what Nigerians are talking about.
Coming to that, 100% there first. So you have agreed we scored 100% there. Going to the elections, we have scored 100% there. Next point, performance. Between 2011 and 2015, the past government earned a total of $415 billion in crude oil earnings.
Mr. KEYAMO,
no, I will come to that.
You're not going to do this to us.
I must do that. I must do that.
To do what we've accused the APC government of talking about, always taking us back to 2011.
Because it's comparative analysis. You want me to compare performance with a blank sheet?
No, let's talk about it.
He has earned $52 billion in oil in 2.5 years. $52 billion, about that, in 2.5 years. What has he done with that? More than 10 major highways are being done across the country. 10 major highways. The rail line of Alaja, Warri, Itakpe, that was started in 1987 and abandoned, he has resuscitated it. Standard gauge rail line, he has resuscitated it. The Lagos-Ibadan, 313 kilometers. 153 kilometers. The Alaja, Warri, Itakpe is about 313 kilometers. Big, huge rail line. And they are extending that to Abuja now. You know they are extending that to Abuja. The Lagos-Ibadan is about 153 kilometers. Standard double gauge rail line is about almost complete. In this short period. That is and all with very low earnings of oil. Do you know the second Niger bridge? Have you visited the second Niger bridge? Go and see. From 2-point-something kilometers, that was the original design. This president came and said, expand it to 7-point-something kilometers for me. Let me satisfy these people. Let me satisfy this part of the country. Go and see what is happening in that bridge. All the pillars are standing now of that bridge. All the pillars are standing. It was only a design in the past. Only a design. They were showing people design on tables.
It was a Takpe also a design.
Yes, it was abandoned.
The Jonathan government had also started work there.
The only thing Jonathan completed was the Abuja-Kaduna rail. It was even 80% complete. It was this present government that made it functional. And it was a single gauge. Take note. You know the Abuja-Kaduna rail was a single gauge. What happened? The president said, look, you must improve it to a standard gauge. And they have improved it to a standard gauge now. And they made it fully functional. Now, with all those earnings, it is, you must be, why do we say comparative analysis? Tell me why. Let me say why. Because it's the same people that are seeking to come back. So you tell me not to talk about their performance, and you want to talk about my performance, and we are running the same race? No, is it fair? No, is it fair?
Nigerians.
Not Nigerians. We are talking about a party seeking to come back and what they did. They are running the same race with us.
I'm not talking about the
Listen, I'm not the Villa spokesman. Go and ask his Villa spokesman. We want to run an election. I want to sell my candidates. And I must talk about my candidate and the party he runs, upon which he runs, the ticket upon which he runs, with that of those who seek to supplant him, the party that seeks to supplant him. So it is really defeatist. It is neither here nor it is unacceptable if you tell me that I should not talk about the past. But that is the past that seeks to come back. If the past is seeking to come back, why should I not talk about the past?
The economy. Does he have a credential after 3 years to ask Nigerians to come back based on the economic performance of his government?
If not for quick thinking, Vin, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. If not for quick thinking, prudence on the part of this president, this country would have collapsed with what was left in 2015, what he saw in 2015. The treasury was empty, was almost empty. There was nothing to sell, to run this country upon at that time. With these low earnings, very meager earnings, our foreign reserves they've shot up. And I'm sure you know that. Giving investors, confidence to come and invest. Because your foreign reserves, it shows how liquid you are and gives confidence to investors to come in. And people were asking, you know the naysayers, they'll say, what is foreign reserve? What is foreign reserve when you borrowed so much? Did we borrow to pay salaries? In 2015, they were already borrowing to pay salaries. I hope you know that. They were borrowing to pay salaries already, not to build infrastructure. They were already borrowing to pay salaries, and 24 states were almost going bankrupt in 2015. They were owing more than 4-5 months salary, 24 states. What happened? This government came and cleared the backlog of those salaries by prudent application of public resources. They cleared the backlog with production of oil dropping to 700,000 barrels at a point per day. With the price of oil dropping to nearly 30,000 barrels per day, they came and cleared all of this mess they met on the ground. And then you say that kind of person is not prudent economically? Oh, come off it. It's only somebody who can manage the economy, who knows all of it, that could have done. It is magic. I said it in another program, that given the resources available, not what we really expect, and so don't misquote me, but given the resources available, what this government has done is an overperformance. It's 100%.
You know, in keying into this, even taking up this job, yes, you did tell me just now, yes, that you were aligning with that 15 million people.
Those are
the real masses.
Yes.
Are you saying, FESTUS KEYAMO, yes, that these ordinary masses, yes, that you claim are the constituency of Mr. President,
yes,
that their life got better since May 15th, that they can go to the market, buy Gary cheaper than it was in May 29, 2015, that they can pay school fees for their children, that transportation is cheaper, that they have better electricity. Can you say that?
Let me tell you what you don't know. Let me answer you with a parable, with an example.
Yes.
The situation of Nigerians is comparable to a father who pampers his child, who doesn't send him to school, who gives him all the toys to play with. And the child says, this is the most beautiful father I've ever seen. Every day when people are going to school, he goes to disco clubs. The father takes him around the town, takes him to entertainment parks, and his mates are in school. They are grinding it out in school. And the father says, and the boy says, I love this father. And the new father comes and says, hey, for your future. No, we got to cut all of this down. There's no free thing anywhere. So those free things you were used to for your future to be good, you need to stop going to disco. You need to go to school now. I will not take you around to parks again. When your mates are going to school, you need to go to school. If you do something, I need to flog you. You need to get some sense into your head. And the new father begins to flog him, begins to tell him what life is all about and how to work hard for his future to be good. And then the child says, oh, an onlooker says, oh, this new father, the child or the life of the child is worse now than the life of the child before. That is the situation we find ourselves now. What we are going through now is learning the ropes, learning to earn and to eat what we earn. It's let us go through the difficult times now, repair the economy so that our future would be assured. Remember in my letter of acceptance, my public letter of acceptance, I gave an example that what happened before was like a car that was being driven at a high speed with temperatures that were rising. You've driven cars before we started driving good cars, you know. We drove the jalopies in those days. My first car was a jalopy. And then the temperatures were already rising. And the driver kept running at top speed. But the temperature was rising. And you knew, of course, you know if you see that kind of car, that the car is headed for disaster. After some time, the engine is going to crash. And the new driver takes over and says, look, we need to park this car for some time. We need to fix the radiator. We need to fix a few things before this car can take off. And then somebody mischievously comes and says, oh, this new person, look at the way he has parked the car. He's not moving it like the person before was moving it. That's the situation we find ourselves. And I've just answered you these two clear examples to know what we are going through. What we are going through before, we are living false lives. were too much easy unearned money in the system. And this unearned money was depleting our foreign reserve, depleting our savings, depleting everything that can make this country survive in times of crisis. I did not say so, Vin. I did not say so. Okonjo-Iweala said this, who served Jonathan. He warned in 2013 that we're heading for a crash. Sanusi, his CBN governor, said we're heading for a crash. Former CBN governor Soludo said whoever takes over in 2015 will find it difficult to run the economy. All of them said so. We did not say so. Their own people said so. So they cannot come and rub that in our faces. They knew what they did to the economy.
You said you speak for the president as it concerns the election.
And I speak for those 15 million people who voted for him.
15 million people. And the president has a party, the APC. How would you speak? How would you manage? How would you contend, with the divisions, the tensions, the disagreements, the incohesiveness in the APC? We are just seeing the congresses, the world congresses, and the rancor. How do you contend with that in doing your job?
It's let me borrow for once the phrase of the PDP. It's a family affair. So they are saying at times out of Satan something good comes out.
You're not suggesting that PDP.
Excuse me, that out of a bad situation something good comes out at times. So they taught us that phrase. It's a family affair. We're going to sort it out. It's a normal rancor. Even with children in the family, they fight all the time. They fight. They fight because it's a struggle for positions here and there. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to sit down. Do you expect really that everything will go so smoothly? Nobody will fight. Nobody. It's a struggle for positions. But at the end of the day, you'll find out it's going to come out a more united, stronger family. We're just going to go through this process to be ready to prevent those who have looted our economy, those scavengers, to come back. They are waiting to come back to scavenge. They are looking at the rising foreign reserves. They are looking at the rising savings. They are looking at the excess crude account rising and say, oh my God, they are licking their lips. Food is ready. We need to go back. That's what they're doing. Nigerians must prevent them.
But when you talk like this, you talk as if we've not had issues of corruption under this administration. Fresh in our minds is the coordinator of the amnesty program, who we were told by agencies of this government had millions and millions of dollars.
Has it been removed from office?
No, found in his house.
Has it been removed from
No.
office?
You're talking as if
are still going on.
you're talking as if we've not had a secretary to government, an SGF, who has also been found.
Have they dealt with the situation? Have they removed him from office?
He's not.
You are just look. Listen, Vin.
He's not in detention.
Vin. Oh, should he be in detention without trial?
He's not in detention.
No, should he be in detention while investigations are going on?
But there are some people.
No, don't stand up.
No, but there's some people in detention without wearing this.
Everybody is on bail. What are you talking about?
Because
all the people facing corruption charges. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It is even you that are shouting now. Once you see one senator or somebody who is about to be tried, everybody is shouting, leave him alone, leave him alone.
No.
So what are you talking about?
No.
Listen.
You are now taking us to that conversation.
No, but we're not. But the point I'm making is this.
Yes.
The point I'm making is this. You cannot expect to detain somebody that is going through investigation. He's entitled to bail. I don't understand what you are talking about.
People are entitled to bail, and some are not entitled to bail.
Who are you talking about?
No, I'm asking.
Who are you talking about? They are on bail. Everybody is on bail or charged to court.
Okay, let's.
Everybody is on bail or charged to court.
I'm sure you must have heard, except that maybe now you hardly hear a lot of the things you heard before.
No, I hear everything. In fact, now I open my ears more. I open my ears more now.
You must have heard about the accusations of ordinary Nigerians, of media practitioners, of members of the PDP, of even members of the APC, who, for one reason or the other, are speaking against the government about the kind of intimidations they are going through.
Like what? Like what?
For instance, we heard the spokesperson of the government, the Minister of Information, coming out with what he called a list of looters.
What's wrong about
of matters that were in court? You are a senior advocate of Nigeria, so you know this better than me. How about sub judice?
No, it
doesn't hold anymore.
This is a different process.
The case is in court.
Yes.
Someone is being tried.
Yes.
And an operative of government,
yes,
of the executive,
yes,
classifies these group of people as looters.
Yes.
Found them guilty already.
Yes. Not guilty. Guilty is criminal process.
No.
It's naming them. Guilty is a different process. It's naming them. Yes. You have your facts.
You have no problems with that.
That is perfectly in order. You have your facts. You have your facts. Especially, hold on. Especially,
why are the cases in court?
Especially
if the APC already concluded
is to determine
these people are guilty, they are looters.
Is to determine the guilt, criminal process.
Oh, mostly
but a civil process to name somebody and to allow and to get the person to sue you for defamation or what, it's a different process altogether.
It's not intimidation.
It's not intimidation because we need to start naming and shaming people. That is the problem with us. We have been running away from this over the years. And this is a wonderful precedent set by this government. If you feel bad, go to court for defamation. You know what? Let me give you an example. Can I give you an example? Can I give you an example?
No, we didn't see the name of the SGF.
How?
In the name of looters.
There's a mark coming.
They did not loot.
They have their details with them.
We didn't see the name of the amnesty.
They have their details with them. When they get to a convenient part of the investigation, when it is now ascertained, perhaps you will see their names.
You wanted to tell me something. Go ahead.
Let me tell you this. If you see somebody through your CCTV camera, okay, that the person is stealing something from your house, you have seen the person through the camera, you have your fact already recorded, you have facts, and the person begins to run away. When you come out of your house, you will wait for the police to arrest and charge the person before you shout, thief, ole, running away.
No,
would you? No, hold on now. No, hold on. No, it's the same. Because you want to name him. You want to name him for the society.
They already charged.
No, hold on. I'm asking you. I am asking you now.
Yes.
That would you wait? It's the same thing because the person has not been found guilty. That is the bottom line. Whether charged to court or not charged to court. Would you wait for that person to be arrested by the police before you shout, ole, thief, would you?
Mr. KEYAMO, I've heard you several times say that in Nigeria,
yes,
that you're assumed innocent until found guilty.
That is a criminal process.
I've heard you say it so many times.
That is a criminal process. In a criminal process. But if I have my facts away from the criminal process, I can call you a thief. I have my facts.
Minister of Information of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Very correct, and we will establish it in court that there's nothing wrong about it. You know why? Because these people held public office. And in law, you have a duty, once you have a public office, to make yourself transparent. People can comment on you. You know, that's one of the defenses to defamation, to suits of defamation. Fair comment. If somebody sees something about you, he makes a fair comment and say, this is what you did. Because you're a public officer, you are subject to public scrutiny.
Mr. KEYAMO, being a lawyer,
yes,
and a human rights lawyer,
yes,
and advocate at that,
yes,
the drama of the DINO MELAYE saga, are you comfortable with it? I mean, are you at home with it? Does it worry you at all?
I am not comfortable with you charging a person who is sick and on stretcher to court. Listen very carefully to me.
Yes.
I am not comfortable. It is not right. It is not permissible to charge somebody who is on a stretcher, who is sick, to charge him to court. But then, there is a catch there. Is he sick? The doctor certified him fit. The police had their details that he was well. They discharged him before he was charged. You don't know that? So if the person, hold on. If the person the person now decides that I will not move until you put me on the stretcher, you will have a stretcher. They will give you the stretcher. If the doctor say you are well, if the doctor say, look, Dino is my friend. And if you don't know, he's a very close friend. But I'm making a public comment. And so there's no friendship about public comments. I want to be fair in my comments. Because there's so much, hold on. There's so much public sentiment going all around.
Yeah.
So much sentiment. And let me tell you this, I don't want to be overly politically correct in my statements, not to offend sensibilities. I don't care, so long as my conscience is clear about what I'm saying. So long as my conscience is clear, I don't care about being overly politically correct. I want to say it the way it is. Whoever doesn't like it, I'm sorry about it. I have no apologies. Between when Dino was on the ground, when they saw him that they said he jumped out of the vehicle, when they were saying that he will kill himself, he was very agile, he was shouting that he will kill himself and blame the police. Between then and when he appeared on the stretcher, who touched him? The police was not there. The police left him, they came and picked him away. Then all of a sudden, the next time he appeared on the stretcher. Let's be honest about this.
Him where?
Only there, on the floor. You know, at that point, they now went again to the hospital to arrest him. At that time, he now appeared on the stretcher after that incident. At what point, between when he was agile and shouting?
Someone that jumped out of a vehicle, a moving vehicle.
Listen now, I said at that point, when he was on the ground, he had already jumped out of the vehicle. And he was shouting, he was talking, he was agile. They came and picked him. They didn't carry him. He walked to the vehicle. With the video we saw. All of a sudden, he appeared on a stretcher. Like I said, Dino is my very good friend. But I'm making a clear comment because we don't want to set bad precedents over the place. That anybody that's arrested, you land on a stretcher. Then you blackmail the state. Anybody arrested for corruption or for any heinous crime, you land on a stretcher, you blackmail the state. I'm sorry. It is wrong for a person who is sick and on a stretcher to be arraigned. It is wrong. I will fight it to the end. But we have to ascertain, when doctors say you are fit to stand trial, then you are fit to stand trial. I'm sorry about that.
A lot of people said that a year ago, probably, Dino won't go through this when he was all for the Mr. President, all for the APC, good with everybody. That Dino is suffering what he's suffering because he dared to challenge the state and the way government business is being conducted. You don't think so?
What are the facts of the case?
You don't think so?
I want to ask you, what are the facts of the case? Why was he invited?
Which the case of that took him to
It's a simple matter.
No, but I asked you a question.
No, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. You know, I'm asking a rhetoric question, so I don't expect you to answer because you are the journalist here. Yeah. But it's rhetoric in the sense that there's a simple matter. We are the ones crying for equality in society. Am I correct? We cry for equality. In fact, we are the ones who always shout that somebody stole a banana, you give him 25 years. A big man steals 1 billion naira, you let him walk free. We are the ones always shouting that, crying that. But you know, Nigerians are hypocrites at times. Most of them. They are hypocrites because when they now see the reality of the big man going through it, they can't stomach it. When they now see the reality of the big man going through what they call for him to go through, they can't stomach it. There was an allegation that said there was a gun running somewhere, they gave them guns and all of that. There was an allegation, correct? There was an allegation. Where are those people who make those allegations? Where are they now? They are in detention. Are they not in detention? Some of them escaped before, they were rearrested. They are in detention as I speak with you. Those people are presumed innocent. Take note. They are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Have you called for the bail of those people? You, journalists, have you called for them? Has the Senate raised a motion on the floor of the House that those people who are in Kogi's cell now, who were given the guns, have they raised a motion on the floor of the House that those people should be left alone? Hold on.
Those guns.
Hold on. My very good friend, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, my classmate, Dogara, my very good friend, sat on his seat and said nothing must happen to Dino MELAYE. Did he say on that seat that nothing must happen to those same people who were alleged to have committed the crime with him? Did he say so on that seat? Why do we lay double standards in the country? My very good friend and compatriot, very close friend, Shehu Sani, he was accused of murder. Was he not? What happened? He reported a few days ago at Kaduna State Command. like a gentleman senator. He spent a few days, few hours, signed his bail just because he never resisted. Once he was invited, he walked in there. He made a statement. He was allowed to go straight back.
There were no assassination attempts concerning.
Is he not an opponent of the president?
No. There were no assassination attempts concerning in Kaduna.
Look, he has an enemy governor. He has an enemy governor. They went to demolish houses of people in Kaduna.
Melaye was ready to submit himself to the police in Abuja.
You don't dictate where you submit yourself to. I'm sorry.
But there was an assassination attempt, two previous assassination attempts on Dino.
All that is hogwash. If you believe that, you believe anything. If you believe that, you believe anything.
Okay.
Anybody in public office that says all of that now, and to raise sentiments, and you fall into that trap, you believe that, you believe anything. And then let me tell you this, at times, with apologies, a section of the press is complicit in all of this at times. A section, not all of them.
How do you mean?
They begin to raise these sentiments at times. They begin to promote stories as if it's persecution. When you should tell the person the right thing to do. If it is the U.S. Senate, they will distance themselves from that Senate and say, please, you need to clear yourself of these allegations. We saw it on television. Hold on. Have they killed the people who made allegations against him?
If they feel that somebody is being ill-treated, they should keep quiet?
Ill-treated? Okay, why no? Excuse me. So. Why no? If you don't keep quiet for one person, you don't keep quiet for all.
Okay.
The same people who have been accused along with him, they should also raise a motion on the floor of the House that those people should be left alone.
You know, some of us were a little worried about conflict of interest. The KEYAMO we knew, and
I will not be politically correct. I told you that.
Okay.
You know, I warned you. I don't want to be overly politically correct. I want to say it the way it is, shorn of sentiment. You know why? I've risen to the very height of my. I'm not looking for anything again. I have practiced human rights to the very end. I know it from my fingertips.
Let's go back to the APC. Do you think the APC will survive the acrimony of this Congress process?
The PDP survived it over many years before they were booted out at the end of the day. Not because of fallout of Congresses, because of their bad performance. Any ruling party will always have this kind of problems with their Congresses. PDP had it over the years. You remember? Over the years, there's no Congress that is rank-free of the ruling party.
Always do all the bad things that the PDP did.
It's not a bad thing.
I'm asking.
I didn't say it's a bad thing.
Everything.
No, but I didn't say it's a bad thing. I said it's a family affair. This one is family. It's not a bad thing. I told you that. I told you that. It's a family affair.
Let's look at strategy. How do you want to sell the president?
I said the president has sold himself. He's made my job very easy. I just want to repeat to Nigerians and tell them that the man you voted for in 2015 has not changed. I want to tell them. Look, listen. Look, after you read all these, you know, there was one time I described Nigeria as two republics. You remember? I saw it. I remember some few months ago. I said there are two republics in Nigeria. There is one republic of the social media, where you see few angry elites are always talking and abusing the president. But the second republic is the real republic of Nigeria, where you have the ordinary people. Did you see the way they welcomed him in Kaduna, in Bauchi, in Jos, in Kano? Did you see that? Those are the ordinary Nigerians who voted for him.
Almost of hired crowd.
But in 2015, were they hired? Are those people died? Look, they will see in 2019, it will be the easiest election for the president, easiest victory. You know why? Because more converts have joined those ordinary people who are waiting to vote. They are not loud on Facebook. They are not loud on Twitter. They are not loud on Instagram. They are not loud on Facebook where one person is controlling 50 accounts. You think 50 people are talking. One person. Okay, you will see the ordinary Nigerians in 2019 who still love Mr. President.
Was it the social media that talked about majority of Nigerian youths being lazy?
He didn't say lazy. So, okay, you can see what I'm talking about now. So, have you fallen into that same trap?
Forgive me if I have.
No, hold on.
Forgive me if
okay, I'm forgiving you because you use the word lazy. Yes. Before I answer, you must quote him correctly.
No. You are the
No, quote him. If you cannot quote him correctly, let's go to the next question. because this is how falsehood spreads.
No, Festus.
No, Vin, I'm serious. This is how, because you know why? No, this was a quarrel. No, you are blackmailing my president. It's a quarrel. No, we will quarrel. Because you know why? If you
would you kindly quote Mr. President correctly?
If you repeat a lie 1,000 times, people will begin to say, "Oh, really? He said so. Maybe it is true." That is what they say. That is what. No, you are the one asking the question. You are the one asking the question.
Because
if he did not say so, he did not say so.
Consistently.
First of all, he said, some youths don't like going to school. They don't go to school. And they want to earn because they think, well, we have free money coming from oil. So first of all, he's not talking about educated youths who have gone to school. So anybody who is putting himself in that fray is just being mischievous. Because first of all, he's talking about what? No.
He did not use the word lazy.
But you are a journalist. Did he use it? I'm asking you.
No.
Did he use it?
You should tell me.
No, you read it.
Part of my job is to clarify these positions.
Now that means that you did not read it before coming.
I want to clarify.
You should read it first before coming to ask me.
Wait, Festus,
it's unfair.
Festus, please, can you clarify for me? Did Mr. President use the word lazy?
From here till tomorrow, he never used it.
Good.
You know that.
Good.
You know that. He said the youths who don't go to school, who don't want to go to school. So first of all these people shouting on Facebook and all that he said we are lazy, these educated people, they are jumping themselves in a well that was not dug for them. They are jumping themselves deliberately in a place that was not prepared for them.
Is this part of the damage control?
The marketing strategy. That's in the marketing strategy.
Because people are already accusing the president of demarketing the country.
No, he's not.
And you're turning this around to say...
You said, let me tell you why I love this president. Let me tell you why. And why we must all love him. He doesn't want to be politically correct all the time, to be telling lies. You know the reverse of that comment he made, to say that some youths do not want to go to school and they want to earn free money, which of course many leaders have said in the past. Awolowo said the same thing in the past. Atiku has said the same thing in the past. So many great leaders have made those comments in the past about some of our youths, not all, some of our youths who don't want to go to school and who want to earn free money. Now, the reverse of that comment is when the president goes out to say, do you know we have a youth population where everybody is not lazy, everybody wants to go to school. There's no single youth in our country. There's no single youth in our country who does not want to work and all that. But that would be a lie, a blatant lie. And in fact, the world will laugh at him if he says so, because it is not true. Even in the United States, Barack Obama accused the black community at times of not wanting to go to school. You know that? He kept saying that the blacks must raise their game by going to school. He was accusing the blacks of not wanting to go to school. So if a president comes out and begins to tell some blatant lies, they will laugh at him. We have a president who doesn't want to be overly politically correct, telling lies, packaging things. He's not a packager. This president is not a packager. He doesn't package. He says it the way it is, because if you scold your child publicly at times, he will learn his ways.
Is it a deliberate policy of Mr. President to sometimes take the legislature for granted, like in the purchase of those airplanes?
You know that he has always held them in high esteem. It's just that the facts of this case, people don't want to listen. The facts of this case, the way it is. And I've said it somewhere before, and I'll say it again. And you must give me 2 minutes to explain this.
Let's go ahead.
I said it again, I said it before, and I will repeat it again here. That because of the exigency of the situation, the president's action is covered by the doctrine of necessity. Who likes it should like it, who doesn't like it should like it. The doctrine of necessity, again, I repeat, does not only apply to cases where there is a lacuna in the Constitution. That is where that is the problem of most of my colleagues they have only heard of that doctrine in relation to change of power, seizure of power, and all that. They should go and read deeply the doctrine of necessity. It applies to even deliberate compromise of clear provisions, not only lacunas, for the sake of one, exigency, two, where it involves national security. It must involve these two things. So they should not be ridiculous about it. It is a wide doctrine. It's a doctrine that has no end. It has no parameters. It's such a wide doctrine. Let me also tell those who don't know, I will tell them now, That in many cases, the doctrine of necessity is applied also in company law in the United States, where a CEO of a company has to make payments without getting board approval for the sake of averting a disaster to that company, something that threatens the existence of that company. Because the board cannot quickly approve it, the CEO will make payments quickly and quickly go and get the approval of the board to say, gentlemen, I have to make this payment to ensure that this company survives without getting. So the doctrine of necessity applies to criminal, it applies to tort, it applies to companies law, like to consumer law, it applies to very wide areas. Look, listen, that was how everybody thought I was wrong when I said service chiefs must get approval of the National Assembly before they resume duties. That the president alone could not appoint service chiefs. Most of my colleagues thought I was wrong. Until I went to court, I was proved right. When I said that a deputy governor of the Adamawa State who tendered his resignation, he resigned. He wrote a letter and resigned. And I went to court and I said that resignation is null and void because he did not submit the resignation to the governor as required by the Constitution. He submitted to the Speaker of the House of Rep. And I said I was going to make that man the governor. He should have been sworn in as governor because at that time, the governor had resigned also. They both resigned the same day. Everybody thought I was wrong. The court agreed with me and said I was right. And I'm prepared to stake this too. Whoever thinks I'm wrong, we should meet in court. The action of the president was done out of exigency. And let me tell you this. The timelines show that he acted really under the doctrine of necessity. It was not when the negotiation started in September that was calculated from. It is not when the planes are to be delivered. It's the timeline given for payments. Not when it's to be delivered in 2020. Payment is payment. I say if you don't pay by February 20, this contract will lapse. They gave that contract, they brought that letter on December 27 to the Nigerian Air Force. That was when the American ambassador brought that letter and said, we have it, it has been approved. The president and the executive council they were objecting to some terms of that contract because they didn't like the delivery date and all of that. They made up their mind that the contract was okay and they were ready by mid-January. At that point, they had 1 month to go. And if you look at that SS crude account, it's owned by the National Assembly and the states also. It's owned by the federal government, and the states. The federal government owns 54% of that money. The states own 47%. So really, if you want to follow accountability the way they are saying it, let us follow it to the end. You must go to all the 36 states to get the approval. The National Assembly cannot even approve all because they don't have powers to approve all. They only have power to approve 54% of the money. The other money belongs to the states. How long will it take you when you had less than about 3 weeks to pay? How long will it take you to now go around 36 states to be asking before you pay, and something that is critical to national security? If they they think I am wrong, let us meet in court.
What message are you sending to all Nigerians, or do you want to restrict yourself to the 15 million?
I want to send this message to all Nigerians. First of all, for those who don't like Mr. President, for those who love corruption, for those who, whatever you do, even Mr. President comes to their house today and tar the road in front of their house to their mother's bedroom. If he tars it, they will still hate him. There are people like that. You can't change their minds. For those people who love corruption, who hate Mr. President, my job is not to make them happy. So if they abuse me, it means I'm doing my job. I'm prepared to make those people unhappy. My job description is to make those people very unhappy. Those people who love corruption. And I'm prepared to make them unhappy. For Nigerians who love Mr. President, my job is to give them hope. My job is to ginger them to say, keep the fire burning. This man has not changed. He's still the man yesterday, today, and forever. He has not changed. We must keep faith in him. For those who are coming out, just new aspirants and people who want to run for presidency, wonderful Nigerians, intelligent Nigerians, I've heard them speak. The only thing I tell Nigerians is that we cannot put our hope and our entire future in the hands of people who are not tested and trusted. If you have not held power at a lower level, you have not been tested with power at a lower level, you have not been tested with public funds, because English erudition is not public funds. So at times when you see public funds, let me be very light-hearted here. If you see public funds at times, all the English will vanish. When you see access to power and public funds, it's not all this power, it will vanish. You will become somebody else. You will become a different human being when you see power and money in public. So those people, Nigerians should be careful. We should not put our trust in people who have not had access to power at a lower level before they now go to the office of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This man, this president is tested, time tested. He's also time trusted. Nigerians will continue to trust him to revamp our economy, to retune our mentalities from this easy money, corruption, laden kind of society. He should retune our mentalities till 2023. Then we should be ready for a new beginning. But we should give him that chance to finish all of this reorientation he's doing. And by 2023, I think we should be ready for a clean slate.
Mr. KEYAMO, thanks. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
God bless you.
FESTUS KEYAMO, spokesperson for the Buhari campaign organization. And that's where we draw the curtain on our show today. Don't forget, you can watch the show again on signaturetv.com.ng, and that you can reach us on our social platforms if you have comments or suggestions for our program. Until we meet again, same time on Sunday, I am VINMARTIN OBIORA Ilo from the Signature Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, thanking you for watching.